Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Bingles here, and today I wanted to do something a little bit more long form and casual. So, what we're gonna do today is we're gonna take a look at like about 100 clips of all the progress that I've made on my game Sentient Cube. It's gonna span from day one all the way to day I don't even know, but it's been around 6 months. It's just kind of a progress report for you guys, and let's just kind of see together as a community how far we've come from the very beginning. So without further ado, let's go ahead. I'm just gonna go ahead and like do this without any writing or script because I just want to let you guys know what's going on inside of my head. Just riff off of whatever is on off of the top of my head. And so let's hop into this first one. So you can see here that this is the humble beginnings of Sentient Cube. And all that we have is just a simple black line for the grapple. It doesn't travel, it just kind of attaches itself immediately. But the whole idea is still there. You swing around and you have a ton of fun. And just testing this out, I already knew that it was really fun. I mean, it's a cube attached to a grappling hook. How much more fun do you need, right? So this is what we're going with. So here's the next clip, and if you've seen my video that blew up, the first devlog that I put for Sentient Cube, you'll know what the system is. It's the smart grapple system, in which basically to grapple, before, if you wanted to grapple, you had to point directly at a white block to grapple onto it. But with this smart grapple system, it would kind of search in a radius around the point in which you were pointing at. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. The technical terminology would be it searches in a radius around the hit point of the raycast. So that's for you game developers out there. And you can see here that the red dot, it looks like it's trying to stay as close to the crosshair as possible. And I feel like that's kind of cool. And it kind of lets the players shoot the grapple with a lot more ease. And this is kind of where the game began. But let's finally get into the actual real playlist that I've prepared ahead of time, and it's this one. So this is where things start getting interesting. The grapple is white. You can see that the level was created, and this is actually supposed to be like a Fadian level because the original version of Sentient Cube, I like to call this one version 1. This original version was actually let's go back. But let's just pause here for a moment. So this original version was actually like a game jam version, and basically I had to make it a Fadian level, but at some point I decided that, you know what, I can take Sentient Cube to the next level, and I can actually follow through with it. So I decided to kind of hunker down and actually devote myself to completely finishing a project and publishing it and making it basically the best representation of my work. So let's see what version 2 has to offer. And I'm gonna try to do my best not to repeat any clips because it's probably not the most visually interesting. So here, I mean, it's pretty basic, right? You hit the ground and you get reset. Instead of being Fadian, right, you have to walk all the way back to the entrance. For this one, you just simply get reset. And this is like a showcase of version 2 and like the levels that could be. And again, the grappling blocks are still white blocks because in the later versions, they are actually grappling bars, so that it's a lot more clear that you're supposed to kind of point at them and click. And here you can see the first known footage of me having fun with Sentient Cube. I'm just kidding. I had a ton of fun since version 1, but this is kind of like it's like a window into seeing the potential of how fun a like actual level design and a grappling hook could be. And this is what you see right now is the first level. So there's this blue wall blocking you, kind of you can't really like progress until the game kind of forces you to figure out that there is a grappling hook, right? And after that, there's this, I like to call that the elevator. And I just started putting down platforms. I didn't really think much about it, but this actually ended up being one of my favorite levels because as more players ran the level, they began to find more efficient paths, and we realized that this level is actually much more than it seemed. It was actually, it had a deceptive amount of depth. So with this next clip, you'll see the more efficient way to run the level. You can see that you skip the wall there by kind of like falling to the right on purpose. You go through that underpass over there. That's one of my favorite moves. I need to make a level that's like an underpass. And you can see, look at how like efficient, look at how optimized these like lines are. I love this. And skip that last grapple. It just looks fun. Immediately you can already see like how fun everything is. This one's a cute little animation that I made for the pounce mechanic that you're gonna see coming up next. It ended up not working because Unity just didn't get it, and I had to, apparently it only works if you have like a rig and a skeleton and armatures and stuff like that. And I didn't do that because it's not, a cube doesn't have a skeleton. What are you talking about? But here, you can see there's this new orange reticle, and it indicates whether you have the pounce or not. And this is me demonstrating if the pounce worked or not, and kind of like a proof of concept of if it was cool or not. This coming up next is the new material that I made. It was completely procedurally generated in Blender. It was the first time that I learned about doing stuff like that, and it was really cool. So this was kind of the advent of version 3. Right now, you can see me working on a completely new look for Sentient Cube. I like to call this version 3, the version that's supposed to be like, we're making the game look a lot more like Portal. And you can see in that previous clip, I was trying to make the cube kind of work properly because it was kind of completely dark. That's because the lighting wasn't really interacting with the cube, and that was an issue. I don't know why this one's in the playlist. Anyways, so the cubes, right, in these clips, in the very beginning of version 3, a lot of it was just me struggling with the lighting. This one is like a combination of like a global lighting setting and also baked lighting. And if you take a look at the cube, it just kind of feels like the illumination's just a little bit off. And eventually I settled with something like this, a very faint light, and then mostly baked lighting from the walls that you see on the side. And this current clip that you see right now is the introduction to the new mechanic, which is bouncing, and it's heavily inspired off of bunny hopping from Source Engine games like Counter-Strike, TF2, Portal, Half-Life, especially Half-Life for me. I really love the bee hopping in that one because they didn't bother toning it down. If you guys know about desync, then you very much know about bunny hopping. And for, my version of bunny hopping is a bit different from Source Engine's bunny hopping, but it is probably just this one. So this is the first level that we made, and you can see here it's quite basic. There's just some ramp, and then you take a right, and then there's like some sort of maze. And at first glance, it doesn't seem like much. In fact, there's some there's some Z fighting over there with the UV maps over here. It seems like, okay, sure, like some sort of basic level, but what you might not notice is that there's actually a shortcut to take. I'll show you in a second here, but now, okay, so now we're jumping, right? We're bouncing now, and it's like, how do you approach this level in the fastest way possible? And here's the shortcut on the side. You jump on these little platforms, and once you get on these platforms, you're allowed to get onto the wall. And if you can get onto the wall, you can skip the maze section, and there we go. That was probably faster than, just moving the normal way. This third clip here is demonstrating like, okay, if you don't want to take those steps, I guess you could go on the ramp first and then use that kind of hallway section to pick up some speed, and then you can take the shortcut the normal way. And with the first level, I kind of hold this first level very dear to me because I put a lot of thought into it after thinking about this video that I watched about like Portal 2 developers react to a Portal 2 speedrun. And there's this thing that they said that the most played level of Portal 2 is the first one. And I was like, right, it's not even like remotely the most famous one, but it is definitely the most played one, that is for sure. And I kind of thought to myself like, well, I don't want to like stick my player in a chamber and make them listen to 5 minutes of dialogue before they can play. It's fun for the new player, I suppose, but I want it to be fun for both new players and veteran players. So with new players, they're getting used to the controls, they're holding WASD, and they're kind of getting used to the aesthetic of the game. But with veteran cube players, they're just playing the game the way they would with other levels. They're trying to optimize, and there's always an element to optimize, and that's why I decided to put the shortcut in. And with this one, that's level 2 of this version 3. this second level ended up not making it into the later versions of the game, but I still really like it because it's kind of like the next step in my level design, and I put enough thought into it as well. But you probably won't see much of it in the future. Let's see what we're showing off in this clip. If we get to the second level, you'll see that it's like the introduction to like blue platforms. Of course, like they don't actually do what they are actually supposed to do here, which is like restore your grapple. What I was thinking here is that because it was a different color, it meant that there was like a somewhat of a different interaction. Like the player would understand that, okay, this is something I've never seen before. Something must be different. And my assumption for the completely new player is that they don't exactly know what the spacebar does yet. So they see the blue block and they're like, can I just WASD onto this? Can I just move onto this the normal way? And you will quickly find out that you can't. And the tutorial will tell you hit the spacebar, and then they'll see, oh hey, I'm going up. And so now they'll kind of associate like blue blocks with something else, something that's not just simply moving about. And so this is now level 3. The grappling bar is finally here. I got a little brave and I made some 3D modeling. And you can see here, it's a little bit reminiscent of the level design in version 2. You can see there's a little bit of a vertical drop into a grapple, turn that vertical speed into some horizontal speed, and go fast. And I really like that. This is a little ramp skip. If you accumulate enough speed and you hit the ramp at the right, at the right speed, at the right angle, you can do a little ramp skip. It's really fun. I kind of reworked the level 2 a little bit, and I thought about the veteran route, the more difficult route, maybe like the time saving route. And this is just me having fun with the 3 levels that we currently have into a long hallway to kind of conserve speed, and then boom, finish. Congratulations, you beat the game. And to this day, the finish line still looks the same because I haven't really bothered to do anything with it. And you see here on the side, this is one of the main things of Sentient Cube, at least the story mode. Story mode, yeah, that's right. You heard it right. There is a story to Sentient Cube. I've written out the entire thing. So far, I finished the first chapter, and I want to make like 3 chapters in total. And with this, you can see that the dialogue system works on the left. This new clip is quite interesting. You actually won't see this in the final version of the game. It's the slide mechanic. I guess a little bit of Apex kind of rubbed off on me, and I was like, okay, we got to get a slide. But in terms of game design, this actually does serve a function. So when you're bouncing around, you kind of start traversing the map in segments. And I thought to myself, like, there are times where you want to kind of cut your segment short because you know that you need to land earlier than you usually do. So I put a mechanic in called the descend mechanic. And as another player put it, it's kind of like a fast fall from Super Smash Brothers. And if you've played Super Smash Brothers or any platformer, you probably know that being able to land earlier or faster is quite advantageous. But I needed something in a different vein. And what I ended up doing is I put a slide in because I wanted people to be able to maintain their speed while extending their slide. And it ended up not really working because anything that you slid underneath would end up blocking your vision for like too long. And I didn't really want that. It wasn't the vision that I wanted. I don't want players like to memorize the level layout and then kind of play around that. I want the players to be able to read the map as it comes. So because sliding under something would block your vision for too long, I decided to remove it from the game. So here you can see that there's a completely new set of levels, and this is actually more final. This is actually version like 4 of the game at this point, where basically I'm trying to hit 10 levels so that the game is in a playable state. There's a beginning and there's an end. All of the dialogue is supposed to be written. The narrator interacts with you, and you begin to learn like new mechanics and new movement opportunities as you play the game. And this current level that you see is teaching the player how to maintain their speed after a grapple. Because before this level, The new player doesn't actually know that you can go super duper fast. Of course, I imagine that most people, when they start playing this game, they'll probably be playing it because they saw the cinematic trailer on Steam, or they saw some YouTube video of some guy blazing through the levels. So maybe they know that you can go super fast, but I'm not going to assume that. So with what I've taught the players so far, they just simply know to move around, to jump, and to grapple. Simple as that. And here's the next clip. And what's happening here is the new purple block. Let's go. And it's basically a trampoline block. You can see this is a really creative way of utilizing the purple block. You kind of convert your vertical speed into like upward speed into downward speed, which turns into upward speed again. I mean, like think about all those conversions, right? Like isn't that just like plain fun? Look at that plain. And this is the more normal implementation of the trampoline block. You can even see here that you can like change the direction that you bounce in, but that's not in the final version of the game anymore because it posed too many problems. So what was the next step with the purple block, right? And the next step was to make it so that you could interact with it sideways. I didn't want to make it like what you see right now, like you can just bounce into it and you will kind of like reflect the angle at which you contacted it with. What ended up happening is that you have to now hit right click to kind of ricochet off of it, and it's kind of like adding a layer of like interactivity and engagement with the movement options that the player has. And this level, I really like this level as well. I think this was when I became a lot more aware of like level design as a whole. I started to put myself in the shoes of like a level designer rather than like the shoes of a game developer. And you don't see it anymore, but in those previous in that previous level, the blocks were a combination of accommodating new players and teaching them a specific skill. In that example, it was aiming left and right as they bounced, so maintaining your speed and turning as you go. The name of that level is called Don't Forget to Turn. And the idea is that if you fail to accommodate your forward and backward traversal, like basically you don't land properly for the forward backward component, it's not that bad because you actually end up all right, let's go back and take a look at that because it's actually significant. It's actually, so here, right, it's actually not that bad when you hit one of these cracks. So in the past, if you were to kind of unfortunately fall into one of these cracks, you would also get reset. So what that ended up meaning is that falling too far to the left or right, or falling off because you went too far forward or too far backward was the same. The outcome was the same. You got reset, you lost all your speed, and you lost some progress. And I realized that in this level, the purpose wasn't actually teaching them about the forward backward component of bouncing around. We actually care about aiming left and right. So as a result, I put these connectors in and I made these blocks way wider because I just wanted to teach the player that like you have to aim left or right. But you don't have to be super precise. In the past, yeah, each block was probably like 3 tiles wide, and it was just too thin. And while veteran players could hit it, new players were just constantly stuck with that section. And by widening it by almost like making it twice as wide, I actually achieved the same result. Because again, it's like, okay, I'm now aiming a little bit better left and right, and like the new player understands that if I accidentally misaim too hard, then I will fall, but for the most part they don't need to worry about it. And as for the forward backward component, you choose where to land by simply hitting descend or by twirling and delaying your fall. And twirl would be this, you just saw it over there. Basically it's another movement option that you have. It's the right click ability, and it just delays your fall a little bit, and it gives you a little speed boost, and it's really useful. It serves the purpose of what the slide was supposed to do, which is extending the current segment of your hop. And so you can see here, if you twirl into a purple block from the side, oh, that's really sad, got pineappled. You will do a ricochet. It'll make a sound, and the game will kind of tell you that, like, hey, you interacted with the purple block in a specific way. If you don't twirl in time, you'll just end up like bumping off of it, like it was an obstacle instead of like an interactable object. Here is a demonstration of the increased, like the twirl version 2. It gives you a tiny boost forward. It can actually turn all of your speed into speed in a different direction, but it will come at a big penalty. And the twirl can be quite useful. It was actually quite punishing in the past, but I've gradually given it less and less of a punishment for using it, as well as the descend, because I think pushing buttons is way more fun than trying to push as few buttons as possible. So now the descend and the twirl, it's much less punishing to use. In the beginning, I was like, I don't want players to be relying on this crutch, but now after a while, I decided that it wasn't actually a crutch. It's just part of the game. It still would benefit you to basically avoid using descends and twirls, but the benefit is, like, I would say almost negligible. If you care about 0.1 speed or 0.2 speed, I guess you would care. If you're a speedrunner or something like that, and you're competing for the world record, maybe it would matter then. But for most people, they can just hit descend as many times as they want and hit ricochet as many times as they want. Take a look at this. We bouncing on these purple blocks, ricocheting off of the side. And already, like, even though I am the developer of this game and I have seen like these clips like a billion times, I've played my game a billion times, just watching this, like, look at this. It's just such an encapsulation of like physicality, and like I feel like there's like this human inclination for speed, right? You kind of want to achieve what you normally can't achieve, and this is what we want. We want to kind of master an ability and kind of see the results for it. Kind of like if you practice skateboarding, right? You want to see some results, and it's fun to see that you're having much more success. You're being a lot more fluid, you're having a lot more speed, and maybe some tricks in the middle. So with this one, this is like this new level selection system that I have, and you can see on the top, the title of the level even shows up, and I named each one. And the level that I talked about earlier about like teaching the player to aim left and right, that level is called Don't Forget to Turn, and I really love that. This is called level 1, the maze. And if you go through the doorway, boom. Level 2, a level about jumping, because the narrator says they told me to make a level about jumping, so I made one. It's called a level about jumping, kind of meta. Here is the main menu, and I really love this. This one, definitely Half-Life and Portal inspired, and as for the slow rotation, it's a little bit Minecraft inspired. I didn't even realize. And so with this new clip, you can see it's a little bit new. Or I mean, there's a new feature, which is the grappling visual effects, which you can see it's red, because you know when you hit a blue block and you get your grapple back and you spend it, you go from blue back to red. So with this one, you can see I'm adding a lot of new visual effects because I was learning a lot about visual shader graphs in Unity, and it's really lovely, honestly, because just 30 years ago, like Steve Jobs, Pixar, and Next, they were investigating like 3D graphics and like geometry and trying to figure out how to represent something with a 3D engine. And, you know, we are still in a time period in which like we were consuming media that had like uncanny valley, and then like now we're in a state in which things have gotten so much better. And I feel like it's just such a time to live in. I don't know why we're back here. Oh, this is why. It's a little button on the top right, join the Discord server. And I mean that right now, by the way, because all of these clips, if you were in the Discord server, you would have been around here too. And you would have, every time I post one of these clips, I put a little caption to let you guys know what's going on. And I forgot to mention that, you know, the VFX for grappling turned into that square, the iconic square with a hole in it. I call it the square donut. And over here, what's going on right now is I'm showcasing the new replay system, I'm looking away from the grappling bars, but you can see that the cube is like moving in ways that it shouldn't be because it's actually playing a replay. And so now here I am playing yet another playthrough, where I'm just basically recording some gameplay. Here I am. Okay, let's do some grapples, right? And then let's do this really, I love I love these sections where you just fall and then you grapple forward. All right, and then let's hit the replay button and let's see what happens, right? And the replay works. I'm looking away from the grapple bar right now, but you can see that the cube is grappling and it's really fun. There was actually this bug with the replay system that I didn't catch for a while because it was actually 1 beat late. What was happening was like the replay system would shoot the grappling, like the grapple thing the moment the actual grapple hit the bar. So it would be like 1 beat late. And this is like the next step to the replay system. It's the cinematic camera, but what you see right here is the very early and primitive versions of it. What's going on is I told a camera to loosely follow the cube, and I realized that when you loosely follow the cube, the camera doesn't actually know what is forward and what is backwards. And this is actually like this bug that I found out that for some reason the cinematic camera was using the rotation of the player camera. And I was like, wait a second, that's genius, because what better way to tell where forward is than by using the player's camera, and the player definitely knows where forward is, unless they have no clue what they're doing. But it's just as funny. But you can see here more camera systems, more stuff, some rally racing camera angles, really fun, really cool. I was actually working on this because the game was actually reaching a stage in which it was basically ready to be put onto Steam, and either it was going to be an early access or maybe closed beta with like wish list access, something like that, who knows. And I needed to get like a Steam store banner page ready. So that meant that I needed to take pictures of Sentient Cube that wasn't like directly behind it in third-person view. I needed to somehow get out of the shoes of the cube and take pictures of it, and also find ways to take pictures of the environment. And so that's why I worked on this replay system. This current one, you can see, this is me like tweaking the camera as we're going. I shouldn't have done that, but I was just having too much fun. And look at it, just how lovely it is to just kind of watch like a cube maneuver itself with like this somewhat cinematic camera. It's a lot more well-tuned, fine-tuned now, and it still needs some more tuning, but you can see like kind of like the general idea. The reason why it's so wonky again is because we're taking the player view camera, and when a player grapples, they look up to grapple. So cinematic camera's doing the same thing, but in the future clips, you'll see that it kind of gets improved. And here we are in the level, don't forget to turn, right? And all you have to do is just hold space and aim left and right, or turn, right? Do a little right turn on Baker Street. And you just got to make sure that you don't fall in the gaps. And my favorite way of not falling in the gaps is simply hitting the descend button so that you don't fall in the gaps. Look at that cinematic camera. There we go. This one is a cute little clip that I shared where basically I was working on the camera system again, and it was locked in like a specific 90-degree angle. And because I make the levels in a 90-degree angle as well, you can't see anything right now. We're being blocked by a wall. It actually looked really cool. And at specific moments, it would actually look like kind of like a 2D Mario playthrough. I think around here you see, we have pitch black again. Look at that. There's like a little grapple, and then it moves, and then it jumps, and it's like, that's just cool. I don't have a camera for this yet, but at some point I'm gonna make a camera that like works, that tries to like play to this angle the best it can. I'm gonna call it like platformer camera. Look at that. Oh, I love that part. It just bounces toward you, and you get like this moment of like depth for a while, and you're just like, oh, that's really cool. And then when it's bouncing away from you, that's like a little bit cool. But I like the side view the best. Yeah, it's not exactly framing the cube the best, but it's still very entertaining to watch in my opinion. I love this. It's really fun. And the further we go down these clips, the more and more pride I feel seeing this. Toward the middle, I was actually having a lot of trouble with like motivation. I know a lot of devs have said this before and stuff, but I actually, for my journey, I actually think that I did very well, because Sentient Cube is such a great, like, it's so darn simple that it's like working on it, I was a little less prone to burning out. But even so, right, like even with that in mind, I still had trouble. And in the middle, I was thinking, like, did I make the right choice, like including audio, or like not audio, but including like dialogue and a narrator and a story and whatever. But now you can like look at where we've come, right? Like just like a few, like 20 minutes ago. I don't know how long you guys have been watching. Also, like, if you've made it this far, thank you so much. Like, let me know in the comments if you made it this far. Type something like banana pie, or actually tell me what you ate for lunch. Keep it a little discreet so that like the people in the comments don't know what we're doing. Just say like, oh, this video was great, I enjoyed it, and I watched it while eating lunch, and here's what I had. I had some instant noodles, top ramen, something like that. But as for what's happening on the screen, there's player view, cinematic view, and free camera. You can also tell that you're in replay mode. I mean, you guys are the audience, so you can see how useful this UI is. You now know that whether something is a replay or not, right? And here's me tweaking the cameras as it goes again. But look at how much better the cinematic camera is doing now. I did a little bit of calibration, and right now I'm like fiddling with the settings again, but I think I leave it alone after this. And just look at that. It's that much more entertaining to see. It's a little erratic, but when I have the time, I'm definitely going to go back and continue tuning the cinematic camera so that it's fun to watch. And right now, I think it's fun to watch. So you can take a look at this. I'm actually twirling at times because I want to extend my landing. And that was a bad landing. You can see I lost a ton of speed over there. And here is the free camera view. You can see there's a black cube. This is the object that you're controlling when you're using the free camera. And once it was operational, I just turn off the mesh renderer of the black cube so that you basically have a true free camera. And this is actually how I took the pictures for the banners and basically like the Sentient Cube game art. And I'm really excited to kind of show you guys in the future the game art. I'm currently talking with the graphic designer, so we're trying to work out the kinks right now. And oh, this is some technology here. So we got replay mode speed controls, because the system that I had actually was quite robust, I suppose, and I actually had control over a lot of the features of the replay system. So I could even speed it up, I could make it go in reverse. And even though reverse mode doesn't exactly work properly, it still kind of gets the job done. You can go backwards. If you saw something cool, you can go like, wait a sec, go backwards, go back 5 seconds. But if right now the replay mode, it's bound to having some desync problems, but it only desyncs the animations or the visual effects. As for like the actual movement of the cube, it's just like it's one-to-one, it's perfect. Also, the grappling hook also works perfectly fine. The only time things go bad is when you hit the reverse button. So keep that in mind if you ever watch a replay of yourself and you want to reverse. But you see, the pause works as well. This is how I got a really good picture of the cube grappling. You just wait for the cube to grapple and hit the pause button. Go into free camera mode and take a little pic, take a little screenshot, and you got a high quality asset. Okay, we are getting into more modern. We're getting into like 2 weeks ago levels. So Unity, making levels in Unity has always been a complete nightmare for me. For example, the snap to grid just does not work, and you can see because like my levels are made like entirely with the grid. If the snap to grid doesn't work, like, and what I mean grid is like the materials and the texture. Also, there's a dude hammering his roof right now outside. I don't know if you can hear that, but let's just try to ignore that. So here is me making a level editor, and you can see the system is quite interesting. There's 2 ways of doing level editing with my system that I'm gonna say I invented. The first one is kind of like Minecraft building, where you just you can build, and it's right in the middle of your screen. You can see right here. And the other system is you can hit the spacebar and your camera stops moving. And if you move your mouse, then your pointer or your cursor starts moving as well. And whenever you click, it goes straight to your cursor. So it's basically a hybrid combination of like a first-person building system and also like a tycoon, a top-down building system, because I'm planning on utilizing like a flying camera system anyways. I'm not going to be building like making my levels as a cube, right? So I have the freedom to do what I want here. And what you saw there was me demonstrating like the save load system. That was actually very important. I have to make sure that my levels like save and load properly, right? Yeah, so this stuff right now that you see is what I'm currently working on. I got the grid stuff working. Oh, and yesterday I like completely broke my grid system, by the way, and I was like in utter despair, but I woke up in the morning and I started tweaking it, and yeah, we're back. We fixed it, and it's compatible with like, because right now what you see are just like 1x1 cubes, and they don't have any textures and stuff like that. I tried to just slap the textures onto these cubes, and I realized that they were like grossly out of proportion compared to like the actual prefabs that I have. So I had to like rework the system again. And you can see here, this is me working on like a placement system. It's checking the placement validity and stuff like that. I ended up trashing that because I realized that I don't actually want to have like a true grid system. I just want it to have snap to grid. And what I mean by that is that with a true grid system, the engine is actually keeping track of if a cell is occupied, if you program it that way. And I decided like I don't actually need that. So what I have right now is just a snap to grid system. Because like, for example, you can see here, I made this column block and it just kind of clipped itself into the other column block above it. You can see it's not exactly accommodating for this. Oh goodness, right? like we got some bugs going on here, but basically things are working along. Things are starting to work. And in the beginning, I was just I didn't know if this was like a pipe dream working on this level editor, but as of today and yesterday, the tool is actually super useful, and it kind of like evolved to the point of like, oh, this is just something I'm working on, to this is now a tool that I would actually use over what I currently have, and that would be Unity. I actually think that once I finish this level editor, I'm almost finished. I predict that it's gonna take like another week for me to knock out all the dents, but I definitely think it would be an absolute joy to be making levels on using this level editor. And the whole point is that I want the players to be able to make levels as well. It's supposed to be a community-driven game, just like Trackmania or Osu. And I definitely really want to have like Cup of the Day, where basically like somebody makes a map and then 100 players like learn the map on the spot, and like there's like, I don't know, like 80 rounds, and each round 2 people are eliminated, something like that, you know. Here is like the textures working properly, and also like the proper rotation, because in the past, like long blocks like these would rotate from the center, and if something's like 4 blocks wide, that would mean that the rotation was like not correct, right? It would rotate from the middle, where the line is, instead of where the block is. Anyways, so rotation just properly works. I think we're almost finished here too. We're kind of caught up to present day Sentient Cube. By the way, for those who are interested, you can, if you're interested in like keeping up and stuff like that, definitely join the Discord server. That's where I kind of interact with everybody, and I love talking to the community. By the way, it's the community that's kept me going. If not for the community, I definitely would have stopped at like version 3 or maybe even version 2. Who knows? And it would have been like kind of good enough for the original purpose, which was like, I want to have something on my portfolio, something that shows that I did something in my free time. But now Sentient Cube has become something along the lines of like my blood, sweat, and tears for real. And I gotta say, there plenty of blood went into this. Not really, I didn't bleed over it, but it's just a figure of speech, right? Yeah. Lots of sweat, lots of tears, that's for sure. So here's me demonstrating the fact that yeah, the placements, the adaptive placement system, right? Currently, it doesn't account for placing something on the bottom. So you can see that this column is clipping itself into the column above. And in the next clip, you can see, boom, it works. It's perfect. And just look at how responsive that is, you know? If you guys have like made something in Unity, you'll know that like, it's not exactly the most responsive. Like a level editor in a video game is, because it's a game, right? So like video games are supposed to feel snappy and they're supposed to feel good and stuff like that. Level editors, like the Unity level editor, it feels like they just made something that got the job done. And I I don't blame them, because it's not Unity's job to be a level editor. It's Unity's job to be a game engine, right? So this new clip here, I'm showcasing the undo redo function, and boy, does that make everything way better. I'm gonna make a manual delete in the future, but right now this undo redo, oh, it's the best. It is absolutely the best. And so here is we're on like the final 2 clips or something like that. Here is me trying to implement like the test run function, where you can like build a level and then you just put Mario in and you start jumping around. And I realized I didn't disable the block placement system. I just got the cube working, and I realized that, oh, both systems are simultaneously operating at the same time. So what ended up happening was some Minecraft movement was happening. This might be the last clip, actually. So save load works perfectly fine. Hit the test run button, right? You can test run. And look at how responsive everything is, right? Like it just looks so beautiful. I don't mean to get emotional, but I really never thought that I would get to this point where I could like not only make a game that I would love to play, but I'm making like a tool and like pieces of software that not only I can use, but other people can use. And this software is exactly the way I would want it. Like the undo buttons where I want it to be, but not just stuff like that. For example, I want this feature where like when you finish a test run, you usually are looking at like something that you want to change. You've just tested something, so you're looking at something that you want to change. And when you hop out of the test run, most like level editors, they'll just like place your camera in like the default camera angle. But I want mine to kind of have, maybe you could turn it off if you don't like this. If you don't like this, but the camera is going to be snapped directly to basically where the test run camera was facing. And so basically it's like this really streamlined experience where you can build something, hop in, test it, and if you don't like it, you're looking at it, right? You hop out of the test run and boom, your level editor camera is facing it like right away. And that's what I'm talking about for like just how far we've come with Sentient Cube. In the very beginning, it was just this. And I don't mean, and it wasn't just this, by the way. A game jam submission was already enough of an accomplishment. Even though I already have like 4 or 5 under my belt, like, and by under my belt I mean like significant ones, and I have even more like small projects. I know that game jam submissions are nothing to scoff at, but we've taken it to the absolute next level, and for that I feel kind of like this sense of accomplishment. I'm truly proud of what we have created here, and I just want to say like thank you to like everyone for sure, for where we've gotten, and to be the bringer of good news, I'm really happy to announce that Sentient Cube is getting ready to be put onto Steam, and there will be a point in which the entire game is released. And for those who don't know, I plan on making it like basically $1 for each hour of gameplay that it will give. And for the default story, right, the whole story, 3 chapters, is supposed to be around 1 hour for people who play for the first time. But so you're basically paying $1 for the entire story. And then the rest of the playthrough, the playtime would be like optimizing and stuff like that. But I understand that can get boring too. So that's why I decided to make the level editor, because I want the community to perpetuate Sentient Cube. And I really like the community right now too, because it's just a bunch of people who have like a common interest in grappling hooks, speed, bouncing, and just having fun. And uh, I feel like I'm I'm just sort of speechless because it's been 6 months, and that's not exactly a lot of time, but to me, since I'm working on it like for several hours a day, basically doing it full time, it feels like a lifetime for me, and I'm really glad that we've really gotten here. So there's no real purpose to this video other than just seeing how far we've come, and I'm really happy that we've actually gotten this far. So I guess it's time to wrap up the video, and I really thank you if you've made it all the way here. I wish I could give you guys more for watching all the way to here, but I feel like the only thing I can do is just give you guys more Sentient Cube. So if you really liked what you saw, please consider liking, subscribing, the usual, the shenanigans, leave a comment. But most importantly, I would love if you guys joined the Discord server, because that's where I post all of my updates. But if you guys liked the way this video worked, I'm definitely doing this again. It kind of lets me know that like recording or like making those little clips and putting them on Discord, it's not just all for naught. I can still make a video kind of going through everything that I did in the past 6 months and condense it into maybe a long form video, something like that. But that's the end of the video, guys. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and eat and grab some lunch. I don't know how to end a video. Anyways, again, I really mean it. Thank you so much for watching. But this is Bingles, and I think I'm gonna be signing out.